The Spin-Off Podcast Network.
K-pop to me means more than just listening to music. It's learning to be myself.
The Spin-Off's new documentary, K-Pollies, follows 3 Pacific youth obsessed with K-pop. In a one-off documentary, see what they've found in Korean pop culture and how they bridge it with their own.
When you start dressing, looking different, everyone side-eyes you. But in K-pop, they're just like, no, like celebrate yourself.
Watch K-Pollies today at thespinoff.co.nz/videos. Made with the support of New Zealand On Air. You're listening to Business is Boring, a podcast that reckons it's anything but. Business is Boring is brought to you by Spark Lab, offering inspiration and practical advice to help businesses find their edge. To hear more about Spark Lab, including details about the latest events, workshops, and business tools, visit sparklab.co.nz. And now, here's your host, Simon Pound.
You're listening to Business is Boring, a podcast that reckons it's anything but. Business is Boring is made by The Spin-Off with help from Callaghan Innovation. Here's your host, Simon Pound.
Right now, there is a big problem lurking in sewer pipes and bathrooms. Although they may look benign, those little packets of wet wipes that live beside toilet bowls are causing big problems all over the world. Flushed wet wipes, even the supposedly flushable ones, are huge contributors to fatbergs, huge clumps of wipes and other stuff flushed down loos that are blocking sewers and generally grossing people out everywhere. But people are still using wet wipes, despite requests from councils everywhere that only the 3 Ps, poos, peas and paper, go down loos. But what if you were able to put something onto that loo paper that would make it function like a wet wipe without all the plastics, fibres and problems? Well, that was the brainwave of today's guest nearly 20 years ago. And over that time, Billie Jo Hohepa-Ropiha built a successful journalism career, but always thought there were business ideas she could be advancing. So she studied for an MBA around work and family through 4 a.m. starts and launched not 1, but 2 bathroom-themed products. One being BDÉT, the flushable toilet paper wet wipe alternative foam, and the other being Kiwee, a toilet lid lifting device. To talk entrepreneurship, finding opportunity in places not everyone wants to talk about, her career, and what's next, Billie Jo Hohepa-Ropiha joins us now. Tēnā koe.
What a wonderful introduction, ngā mihi e hoa. Thank you so much.
It's such a cool product and idea. And you tell me the story of the first. Because it's not the first toilet enterprise, is it? Tell me the story of Kiwee.
Well, I just want to say what I love about kind of the kaupapa of our products is that, you know, people spend a lot of time about food and in the kitchen, and the kitchen gets so much love, and the bathroom, well, she completes the full circle, but not much love and care and attention is kind of taken in that area. So we've put up our hands and we've gone, you know what? Where there's a problem, we'll find a solution. And yes, we've started with the Kiwee lifter, the hygienic toilet seat lifter, and that was the brainchild of my dad. So he, of course, my mother was complaining about the toilet seat being left up, as many wives and partners do. And so he went in his shed and basically made a prototype that was in our bathroom working for like nearly 25 years. So it worked and it was validated, and he didn't even have to change the design of it.
What did it do? So a prototype to lift the lid when you walk in. Like I've seen some pictures of it. It's almost like You're like a bin. If you walk in and you push the little lever to open a bin lid without touching it.
Aye, so that's the thought process of it. The design is based on a rubbish bin lid. So it's got a fulcrum, it's got a pedal, and it pushes the toilet seat up to 70 degrees. That's the perfect position. And then it would let it down. And how we came about building the Kiwee lifter is I went on a journalism trip to China, and somehow my passport got taken, stolen, who knows. And then I had to stay on for an extra 8 days. So in that time, by myself. So in that time, I just went exploring around the streets of Fujian, and what I saw was just so many products. And I thought, whoa, this, exposed to so many products, we can't compete. Like, if we're going to bring in a product to sell, how original is that? Not really original. So if we're going to be successful and make it on our own in business, then we have to create our own ideas, create our own products and sell them. So that's when I had a bit of an epiphany, and I went back to my hotel suite, and I FaceTimed my mum and dad, and I said, that's it. We're going to make the Kiwee lifter. I suppose the energy and the purpose behind that too was really to prove that my dad was brilliant, and that I wanted to show him, and it was kind of the reason why I did the MBA, is that bridging that gap of, coming up with a lot of ideas. I was born in a family of hugely creative people, and they came up with so many different inventions and beautiful artwork, but never to the shop floor or never to selling it. So the MBA was about building that bridge of knowledge so that we can take the idea to the shelf.
Right. And so from that trip to China, you'd had this amazing bit of Kiwi ingenuity in the bathroom at your parents' house, and the light bulb kind of went off. Tell me about jumping into the MBA, because at that time you were working and still work around the edges, don't you, as a journalist? Yes.
So I was full-time at Māori television on the award-winning show Native Affairs. And it was, at that time, journalism was moving into a different place, and I didn't know whether, I wanted to continue in that space. I didn't want to go into communications, so I just thought maybe that love and that desire that I've always kind of had to get into business was the time. And because I'm a lover of education and learning, the last time I had been back to school was at Takiura to learn my te reo Māori. So that was in 2010. So it was 2015, and I thought the time is right. Let's get into it. Lucky I didn't look too deeply into how involved and how incredibly difficult an MBA is, because it was. And I think if I had have really looked into it and really asked people about it, maybe I wouldn't have, or maybe I would have, because I like a challenge. But it was absolutely challenging working full-time with two babies. How did you make that
babies work with two babies? And I saw somewhere that you did 4 a.m. starts.
I know. You just... Yeah, I have this fear of failure and coming second. I think that's what fuels me. To first finish, you must finish first. So it was. Yeah, that's what fuels me. So it took everything in the mornings, but I had a wonderful husband who would, pick up the slack and take the kids on the weekend. My mum would come down on the naked bus. She was a frequent flyer, driver, passenger. And so definitely couldn't have done it without my village. And then, of course, my dad was there. And, you do it with your village. Definitely not on my own.
But 2 kids, 4 a.m. starts, full-time job, full life.
Yeah, but it's the goal at the end of it, and it was always to use it to get into to either get into business. Well, when I started, I actually wanted to be CEO of Māori television. And I suppose that's just it. Like we're going through it with the kids. We say, hey, get a dream. It may not be where you're going to be in, say, 2-3 years, but just have a dream. So my goal, my impetus to keep going was to be CEO of Māori television. Of course, that changed because they said, do the first year. That's kind of laying down the foundations of business. Once you get into the second year, that's when you get into the good stuff, like the strategic alignment, thinking globally, and basically in the first kind of couple of months, I think it was February, the light went off and I went, wow, I love this so much. I'm going to look at building our own business and producing either our own products. It wasn't really in the services. Definitely products was my jam.
And what's involved? Like, so, as you kind of came out of the MBA, and then to make a product out of this, the Kiwee lifter, and to get it to market, like, how did you go about doing that?
So what the MBA gives you is a really great, solid foundation of, okay, these are the steps you need, but it also gives you the ability to understand that you now have the capability. So I had the confidence and the capability to go out and find it. Now, with my journalism background, I love the research part. So it was that kind of, dog instinct of finding out, and that's where you need the energy and the fuel, is to keep going, to sniff it out. Where do I go next? How do we get a design that's going to be that we can commercially make, because we're going to have all the measurements and the tooling and be able to work with manufacturers to create that product. You are creating it from scratch. So yes, and actually I got in touch with Callahan Innovation and went on a Callahan Innovation tour to Hamilton. So we got to go to different manufacturing plants and ask questions and again do that research. And that's when we found out we needed industrial designers to come up with a prototype, to which they made 3D printed prototypes, and then we worked with manufacturers to create the parts of the Kiwee lifter.
Awesome. And then having made it, how did you go about marketing it? Because, I mean, we'll jump onto BDÉT in a second, but, the Kiwee lifter, like, it's such a fun product, because everyone must know about, guys leaving the seat up, and everyone must go, there must be a cleverer way. But then also, like, where would you buy one? And, if no one's looking for a product at the moment, that's the hardest product to kind of to sell, isn't it?
That's right, yes. And if you don't know you need it, kind of like BDÉT as well, if you don't know you need it, you really do need that marketing behind you. With the Kiwee lifter, we came up against some quite big design problems, and therefore we needed about 6 to kind of 3 months to work that out in terms of going back to our manufacturers and saying, how do we overcome this problem, this design problem? And so in that time, because I got itchy feet, I was like, okay, well, looking at our business model, we're not going to really survive on just having one product. We need another product. And if it can be in the FMCG space, then we will get regular income. So what is that, guys? And guys is like my husband, my mum and dad, and the boardroom. And our boardroom is our boat called Deadly. Anyway,
Deadly Ventures.
Deadly. And so we of course you come up with ideas because there's lots of problems, and that's when I thought, oh well, I've been doing this for a number of years, and I put moisturiser on toilet paper. And I sort of went silent. Because Kiwis, they're so funny. They don't like talking about, movements, motions, anything down there. It's very taboo. It's very tapu in Māori. So I thought, okay, maybe not the audience yet. They were a little bit freaked out. So the next time there was a group of friends and we just got talking. Someone was talking about how their son was blowing their nose and putting lots of tissues in the toilet paper and not flushing it. And then it was just like one big, basically fatberg, and he had to remove it, which got us onto the subject of talking about toilet things. And so I said, oh, by the way, how does everybody wipe their bum? It's a little bit of, dead silence, radio silence there. What? 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 How do you wipe your bum? And this is serious, guys. Like, do you put anything on your toilet paper? Because if you think about it, can you really clean a dirty tabletop with only a dry cloth? And they're like, no. So what I do is I put moisturiser, or I've got now a foam onto toilet paper. And they were like, wow, okay, I get it. And so the guys, and we had a nanny and she was 65 and she was like, talking about the different things around that, but none of them put something on toilet paper. So I said, well, if I make it, will you try it? And they were like, 100%. So I went off and made it. Everyone tried it, and I thought, okay, I think we're on a winner here. But at the same time, the impetus behind it too was around the issues of wet wipes. And because my kids were a few years before, young at the time, I just went through so many wet wipes, and it's quite hideous, the amount of wet wipes that you use. So when they became toddlers and going, toilet training, I would then put the moisturiser on the toilet paper and wipe their bum. It was one of my kids, I won't name them because I get all embarrassed, that complained about it being, oh, mummy, it's too slimy, that little tushy wiggle, which kind of indicated don't like it, don't like the feeling down there, and 2-year-old talk. I said, okay, well, maybe mummy will do something else, but we need to wipe it away. And okay, got that. So then that's when I created the foam and used that for many years. And then when I met the group of friends, I'd really done my R&D on it. So yeah, that's how we got to BDÉT. From Kiwee.
It's so amazing as it makes so much sense. Like, having had, kids, and you actually make a little, you have a little conversation with yourself. You're like, I know these wet wipes are really bad, but they are so handy. Like, if you're in the car and they've had an accident or something, it's like the dream. And so you actually almost go, sorry, planet, I'll do something for you later, and just buy them. and there must be a lot of people right now who know that the wet wipes that they're using in the bathroom are not good, yet they're still buying them as an enormous number are being used.
I know, and they know that they're not supposed to be flushed, but even I do a lot of in-store promos at the supermarkets, and I say, do you know that so-called flushable wet wipes shouldn't be flushed? And they look at me like a little bit guilty going, no. And I was like, I know your flushable eyes are saying yes, but you're saying no, because how can you really put it into a rubbish bin when you've just completely soiled it?
Yeah, like, I haven't seen you walking out of
bizarre.
that with that. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So we get it. They want to flush it, and you do want to flush.
And so there's this big demand for wet wipes. There's a real problem, like, wastewater and places are saying don't use them, but they're still being used. How have the conversations gone? Because as you say, people don't talk about it, hey? We're real squeamish about talking about anything to do with bathroom stuff, yet, like you said with the kitchen, it's so essential to our lives. We all cook, we all eat, we all do bathroom stuff.
Absolutely. And you would think, right? Because a lot of the messaging, like you said, the 3 Ps only down the toilet, it's a huge problem, millions of dollars of costs each year to clear them out. And then people don't realise that those wet wipes that they get out of their pipes and systems actually go to land waste. So it's absolutely contaminated, toxic waste. You'd think I'd be inundated by calls, wouldn't you, from the 72 councils around New Zealand? It's radio silence. No one's calling me.
Kia ora, I'm Sophie.
And I'm Simon.
And I'm Alice, and together we host the Spin-Off's food podcast, Dietary Requirements.
Join us each month as we explore a vast culinary landscape, from the gourmet
Ooh la la.
to your more hearty taka.
Kiwi onion dip, anyone?
Everything's on the table in Dietary Requirements.
Subscribe wherever you listen to all your other favourite podcasts.
How about getting into the supermarkets? Like, is that? I mean, because it's kind of famously hard, isn't it, to get a product into the supermarket, even if it's like, something that people are already knowing about and buying. How do you go about getting a product that is, such a new category onto the shelves?
That's right. It is a brand new category, and you just don't give up. Like the attributes of a journalist, that kind of dog-hound mentality, you just keep going and going and be prepared for a lot of no's. But I think we got yes in a short amount of time because of timing, and everything's about timing. So there's this acceptance of, we need to be, better for the planet, more sustainable, more eco-friendly products. And we sit there and we tick that box. So there is that acceptance, and we got it on those merits. But when you get in there, there's no help. You're in a big ocean of 200,000 SKUs of products, and there's little old BDÉT floating, hoping to be sold.
And how do you were mentioning doing kind of sampling and stuff in store. Like, are you spending heaps of time talking to consumers to educate them, or how do you get the word out? How do you let people know this exists?
Yes, how do you with no money?
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. And because it's not a new brand of peanut butter. It's not a new, sugar-free fizzy drink. People know what those things are and do, right? They use them every day. So they're like, oh, I might try this. What is BDÉT? They don't know what it is, because they've never put anything on their toilet paper before. So it really is around educating, getting the word out. When I do, people buy it and then they come back. So it works, because once you try it, you will never go back to using just dry toilet paper on its own again.
Tell us about what's in the product. Is the one that you can find on supermarket shelves is the pico pico, is that right?
Yes, so that's a beautiful natural flavour. It's got hints of mango and coconut and a little bit of pico pico, that kind of beautiful bush smell. For me, I love things that smell beautiful. So, but also I get dermatitis, especially on my hands and my skin. So it really needed to be natural, gentle, and which this product is. So we use 98.9% natural ingredients. It's been dermatologically tested on sensitive skin, and we have a lot of people using it for front and back wiping. So very gentle, beautiful product.
And it looks like one of those, describe it for people at home. Like, what is the actual, how does the product actually turn up?
So we've got a plastic bottle which is recyclable but also refillable. We do have refillable pouches in the future, but we do sell them online. And what it is you basically pump it and it creates this beautiful puff of foam. Now, and this is what I love about it. You talk to different customers and they'll tell you how they use it. So some people will pump all around the toilet paper so that they get really nice coverage. Some will just do one squirt and apparently that's enough. And others will do 2 squirts and then they'll fold the toilet paper to get that beautiful coverage and then back fold it and then wipe. But I tell people, look, buy it, take it to, the next time you go, wipe till you think you would normally, pull up your pants, head off into the world, but stop there, pull out another piece of toilet paper, put on the BDÉT foam wash, and then wipe. Just check, see what's left on that toilet paper, and you will be so surprised. So then you will see what you're basically walking around with all day.
Out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have kids, because you see
Hey, Simon,
the skids collecting.
We know, right? The skitties are real.
And so if you've ever used a foaming hand wash, one of those little hand things,
Yes.
you'll be really familiar with the way that the foam kind of appears. And so you just pop it down on the bathroom and then just put it onto the loo paper and bang, you've got yourself some wet wipes.
And bang, you basically got yourself a kind of like a spray and wipe.
Yeah.
And people get that concept. But I'll tell you what, we've got 3 little boys in our household who all use BDÉT. And I'll tell you what, no smelly undies.
Yeah.
My 92-year-old grandfather tells me, the biggest regret I have about this product is I didn't know about this when I was 19, not 92.
Yeah, I love the way that on the copy on the box as well, you say, BDÉT foam wash turns ordinary toilet paper into an ultra-soft, luxurious wipe. And I love this idea of it being the luxury, it's cool.
It is, Simon.
Hey, so people must talk to you a lot, Billie Jo, about their bathroom stuff then. Is that something you'd ever kind of expected out of life, to be standing in supermarkets and having chats with people about their toilet paper and stuff?
No, that's why I say don't be too hard and fast and where your dreams go. It may lead you somewhere else. But what I do love about the kaupapa of BDÉT is that it is a vehicle to talking about some very serious and very everyday conditions that, people live with.
Yeah.
There are many conditions around bowel illnesses that affect everyday Kiwis that you wouldn't even know about. High percentages of people have incontinence, constipation, diarrhea, skin tags, hemorrhoids, and this product on toilet paper makes it so soft and bearable that that's what I'm getting back from customers is, you really have given me the confidence to go out, to even get a haircut. There are people that won't even go and get a haircut just in case they have to go to the toilet because their bowel is going to move and they just do not want to be out in public doing that. But having that confidence and that freedom and that's it's like a little health and safety plan in your bag that they can feel like they can clean themselves up. I had a lady who's got diabetes and she said people don't know that we go to the toilet a lot and the urine it smells, and your product takes that away, takes that that smell away, and it's made me feel so confident, and that is priceless. For a creator, that is priceless.
It's really magic, and it's kind of bananas that there's the opportunity to do that as well. As you'd think there'd be, some innovation in the toilet paper space in all of this time, and the fact that there's room to do this. How's it going? How have you found getting onto supermarket shelves, and how widely available is it? And how's the journey for the business?
So with COVID, took as like every other business, we took a bit of a hit, and it was around continuing those really important conversations with the supermarket buyers. And so they went on hold. But what we did get was an influx of people wanting to try it, because who became the star in the supermarket? funnily enough, toilet paper.
It was a big year for toilet paper.
So it was just perfect aligning. And so we continued those conversations after we got out of lockdown. And so we were accepted by Countdown, thank you Countdown, and we were given 10 stores, initially 20 stores, and then I sort of freaked out and went, okay, we'll take 10 and we'll look after those and really look after the sales and increase our marketing and awareness. And then also we got foodstuffs in at the same time. And with foodstuffs, it's not just one buyer. It's because they're independently owned, you have to go to each store. So at the same time, I was working with a distributor who actually distributes a major toilet paper brand. So he was inundated, and I kind of was put down, down the list, and I get it. And so it was a waiting game really, but we continued our sales and awareness online. And then by September, we were in Countdown stores and about a couple of weeks later in foodstuffs. And now we are in 31 supermarkets across Aotearoa and growing.
That's so cool. And how's repeat purchase and stuff going? And are people kind of sending you messages online saying, I love this product? How does someone discover it on the shelf if you're not there? Where does it live in the store?
That's right. So we are next to flushable wet wipes in the toilet paper aisle. And people, whether they're curious, and I suppose that's our next plan is we are looking for an investor, and that's really around fueling our marketing plan. We do need to educate people around this, get the awareness out. But the great thing is, once people know about it and try it, they are repeat buyers. And that's the beauty of it. So we're at that stage. We're at definitely a growth stage. We've proven the validity of the product. We've got it into, like you said, one of the most difficult distribution chains to get into, which is retail supermarkets. We also have been accepted to be ranged at Green Cross Health. They love the product, the concept of the product, but again, you need a distributor. So there's all these different factors that once you get into this business that you don't realise you need, and there's different protocols, there's different, I suppose, tikanga that you have to abide by.
Wow. And in terms of the things from the media background, how has your media background of, telling people stories and, you're talking about the doggedness and chasing things down and the like. How has the world of media helped you in business?
I think it's really around my ability to write, to lobby, to get people on your side, to follow up with so many emails, and that is around the writing and the research. Yeah, I think it's those skills of journalism, and to always to not take no for a reason. Even my husband, he was like, I can't believe you wrote another email to Countdown. She said no 5 times, and I'm like, but that's okay, because I need to keep going. Yeah, you can't listen to people. You have to keep going until you paint a picture of, well, actually, this is its value and this is what it's going to do, and I'll keep going. So all those traits that I suppose I've gathered, on my 20-year journey of being a journalist has helped me today.
And what advice would you have for someone who is thinking about, who has these ideas that they want to turn into businesses, thinks about jumping into do you do an MBA? Do you just start? What would you recommend?
I think it just depends on your level of knowledge, and for me, I didn't have those basics in place, so the perfect route for me was to do the MBA. Then it fast-tracked and maybe, maybe avoided a lot more mistakes that I could have made. It definitely made me more confident to approach people and to talk in a manner that, because there's a different language, and you've got to understand the concepts and be able to sit in boardrooms. And I'm talking with investors now, and you if the idea is great, then you're going to have to be in those positions very quickly. Of course, and what I say to people is get your iwi. Get your tribe around you, friends and family. And that's kind of really the impetus was to, yes, show my dad he's amazing and brilliant. And then also show my kids that there's another path that they can take. Looking back, I wish I did, I went into commerce, but it doesn't matter. No regrets. That's what I live by. But it's also showing them through osmosis, they're learning what it takes to be in business. And I love, and sometimes it falls on deaf ears. You think they're not listening, but I do tell them hey, today we had a meeting with Countdown, and they said no, but that's okay because I'm going to write it, and they're just sitting there. Or at the dinner table, we'll talk about, okay, well, this happened today. Our online sales have gone up 20%, and that's really great. Now, who's going to be in the distribution warehouse? Put your hand up. Who wants to start picking and packing? $2 an hour? So it's really about getting cheap labour. Oh, what did I say, Simon?
No, look, and kids seeing mum making great stuff happen is, like you say, it's like a form of osmosis, isn't it? Like it just comes in there that you can kind of do your own thing. But I mean, what did people say to you? Because you had built a really successful career, like Native Affairs, like you say, is an absolutely astounding show. Lots of people would know you from 7 Sharp, the absolute top of the game. Did people kind of go, what are you up to? By jumping into BDÉT, or did people get it? Or have you had to kind of really dig into your own reserves to make the change and to start this?
I suppose people that know me know that there's always something going on in the side, very creative. Hey, what about this? Coming up with ideas for shows, everything. Like Simon, lots of ideas. So no, not really. People who know me are like, yeah, that's what she'd do. She'd make an ass cream. And she'd sell it and, everywhere that she can. And she'll talk about it. And then she'll talk about everything. And now I'm an expert on everything motion-wise. So no, not really. It's kind of my personality. It just took a while to, make that, build that bridge and really get into it. But I've we've always kind of been in dabbling in property investment. How we got into property investment was I bought Lisa Dudson's book. So we went through ASB, ANZ, went to one of her nights where she talked about property investment, bought the book. 6 weeks later, bought our first investment house. So it's always been there, the love of learning and then putting it to action. Yeah.
They're doing. And as a kind of final question, something we'd love to ask, what will success be for you personally and for the business as well? As you've got a pretty big addressable market, like anyone who goes to the bathroom, that's a big addressable market. But also, you've had the success in academic pursuits and success as a journalist, and now with the business. What will success be for you, and what drives you?
Simon, on a macro level, I would say being in a supermarket aisle, swiping my FPOS and it doesn't say decline, there, right? And then, I have a list of inventions that I want to get into, and that's for me, that's where I want to be, in my happy place of creating really, everyday inventions and products. But what success really looks like is when my mokopuna come up to me and I see them creating their own businesses, creating employment, being essentially what we know as tino rangatiratanga.
That's so cool. Karawe, it's so cool. Hey, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the story today. That's Billie Jo Hohepa-Ropiha, who is the founder of BDÉT and Kiwee. Kia ora, thank you so much. Thank you to Tina Tilla for producing, and thank you very much for having us along in your ears and listening. Maybe next time you're in a countdown or a Pack and Save or a New World, if they don't have BDÉT, ask for it. And if they do have it, grab it.
You've been listening to Business is Boring, presented by Simon Pound. And brought to you by The Spin-Off and Callaghan Innovation.
From the Spin-Off Podcast Network, that was Business is Boring, brought to you by SparkLab. Make sure you're following Business is Boring wherever you get your podcasts. And for more information on SparkLab, visit sparklab.co.nz. Ready to rediscover the joys of cycling? With over 300 kilometres of cycle paths across Tāmaki Makaurau, jumping on your bike and going for a ride is such a fun way to discover the city from a different perspective. Cycling is getting more and more popular across Auckland, so now's a great time to join the hype and give cycling a go. Head to at.govt/cycling to find your nearest cycleway today. The Spin-Off Podcast Network.